Alright, so let me mute like my entire computer, which is hilarious because that's been like a problem. I have not worked on anything in a while, and I'm currently right now trying to get this just right. I think that's as far away as we can get. Okay. So, this is my assistant Brian. This is my half a brain. This is my other half of a brain. He's so big, you cannot see all of him. Um, this is the left hemisphere, like if it was my brain, and that's the right one, the Nikki one. Anyway, I should be working on socks. I should be doing all kinds of other things. I'm not. I'm doing this. I'm actually taking a break from my statistics homework. Oh, look, a red pen. I'm looking for this. Because I feel like it, and I'm trying to get myself together so I can do a little bit of streaming. So, I also am trying some other things. So, I am currently making the gyri. I think that's how you say it. I've never actually looked it up, so I don't know for a fact that that's how you say it. But it's the squiggles on the brain. That. Um, and I'm using really thick yarn because I wanted it to be huge. And it is. So when I first started doing this, the the gyri, what I did is I just like made this huge I cord because the I cord portion, which is what I'm working on right now, is not exactly per the pattern. I think she makes a suggestion that, oh, if you're gonna do it, you could do it this way, but you could also do it this way. And the way she actually suggests is via like crocheting it into the brain. Now here's the thing though. This yarn is really delicate, and if you yank on it too hard, it's gonna break. So I didn't think that was the best idea. And I figured doing an I cord would be safer and also easier. Also, the I cord, as you can see from all these little white blips, right? There's more over here that are easier to see. As you can see, these are, these are where I have sewn the gyri on, right? And that's like that's the whole point, is doing it as I go so that I don't, because I had to rip out a bunch of I cord, which is not a big deal, but like ripping out with as delicate as this yarn is was like a pain in the butt. And now we're gonna do like this, I think, because I have to get from here to here done. I don't know if I'm going to do any sewing at all while we're on camera. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know how long I'm going to be here, to be honest with you. So, I'm going to sit Brian. Good Brian. Yeah. Anyway, you might see me later tonight, gaming on my phone. You might not. I'm actually taking a break from my statistics homework right now because it's kind of eating my brain. Brenda and I are also having an issue right now, so taking a break from like whatever is probably best. And so that's what I'm doing. And I needed to do this. And I found a way to open my timer and have it open and have it on and not have to switch back and forth and like mess up my timer when I'm streaming. Like, I don't know why I didn't try to do like dual screen before. I don't. But I feel silly for not trying. Because having the dual screen means I could open timer up and press start on the timer when I actually started, instead of there being like a little bit of a lag when I start and stop the actual action. So, yeah, we should be doing socks. Socks are weekend project. This is actually technically my during the week project, but I haven't touched it because so here's the thing. I did the presentation. I wrote the paper. The paper was actually on a separate subject, so it was writing a paper, and then the next week, what was due was a presentation. Now, the paper was on like a disease or whatever, something related to what we went over, right? 3 to 5 paper, summary paper, not, not super strict on how things are cited or sourced so much as it's legit, right? And there's some attempt that was made to source, because this is like an entry-level class, and this is not the first paper, but the first like research-like paper. And I haven't written a research paper since at least 2006, like before that. So it's been a while. I know how to research. I understand the concept of research. It does not mean I'm good at it or whatever. The next week, a presentation was due on something that we talked about. It could have been a body system. It could have been, whatever, right? Also, this stuff was supposed to be chosen like second week of class. We started in end of August, yeah. I think most of, if not all of, the online portion of class may have forgotten. That includes myself. And so I was like, oh no, oh no, oh no. So I was racking my brain, trying to figure out, I'm like, okay, well, what can I write a paper on? And I had a little back and forth with my professor, and I was like, hey, look, can I do this, and the answer I got to the first idea was, no, because we don't really go over that. And I was like, okay, well, can I just write it about the disease, and does this count as like a nervous system disorder? He's like, yes, it does, and you can. I was like, great. And I'm like, I went to sign up, because that's the thing, you had to sign up. And you got credit for signing up, because that was the acknowledgement. Okay, hey, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this by this deadline, right? Well, I picked something that was from the second section of class. There's 3 sections for this particular situation, okay? And anyway, I picked something from the second section, and both my disease, ADHD, and my preferred presentation subject, the brain, fit in with the nervous system in the second part of the class. So by the time I had chosen it, I had like a month right now. I don't need a month to write a 3 to 5 page paper. I don't. However, I am working full-time. I am in school full-time. And I have a bunch of other like personal commitments. So I am just swamped, okay? Like, honestly. And yeah, just, yeah. And because I am swamped, I'm not getting things done like quite on time like I mean to. I'm getting the hang of it. So the priority was paper, presentation, and then prop. So that's the thing. I was like, well, I have ADHD, so I have like a reasonable amount of knowledge about it. I also know all kinds of places to look that are like decent as far as information, right? So that'll be easy. I made an outline for the paper. Yay! And then I proceeded to fill it in. Funny story about this paper, I made a list of potential sources per the instructor's like suggestions. And then I did this giant search while I was like in between tasks at work, in which I went with the subject matter for each of the bullet points basically, and like looked up like ADHD causes, and under that all the links I could get from the front page that looked legit went onto the list. And the whole purpose was gather all these links, okay, and then sift through them and just, get rid of anything that's either redundant or isn't helpful, and start with the basics, and there you go. So I was doing that and everything was fine and peachy, and I was like just pulling quotes of like, oh, here's something like really interesting, and then trying to remember, okay, well, this is where I got it. Well, there were a couple, like three or four statements that I ended up making at the beginning of the paper that I could not remember where I got the information from, like, at all. And it was like the most random things. And what I did is I went with struggling, and then I said, fuck this. I am going to just word vomit some paper information based on what I know, and like things that I can, like conclusions and statements that I can like confidently make, and then we'll fill in the gaps, right? Just because I was getting tired and I was like, there's no way that I'm going to be able to get this done in time. Like, this is not going to happen if I don't like hurry up. So so that happened. Anyway, I write like half of my paper like that, and then start like just randomly plugging things in, and realize at the end that I have no idea where some of this information came from. And that's because I had several documents in Word that had bits and pieces here and there, and so flipping between, right, the different bits meant, what did I write here? I don't know. Where did I get this from? What is this about? What stage of done is this thing right here? And I'm like, you know what? I don't actually know. That's a problem. So I'm stressing out because I can't stand to read the paper anymore. I can't read the paper anymore. I can't read any more sources. I can't look through the inner outline. I gotten to the point that I had looked at it so many times that my ability to edit was like deteriorating. I ran it by somebody and I was like, hey, what do you think? Like, I'm not looking for grammar or spelling. I just need to know that this makes sense. Like, does this make sense? Is this coherent? And that was it. And they were like, oh, no, this is actually pretty good. What about this? And I'm like, honestly, not going to put it in there. Not super relevant. Skip this little bit. It was something that made it on the outline, but not everything. Stuff falls on the cutting room floor. And that's fine. That's totally fine. So, right. Anyway, I'm trying to like figure out these sources. I finally realized, you're not going to, because for whatever reason you deleted them or whatever. And this also involved me going through all of the sources in the outline and like sifting through them to make sure that it wasn't hidden in one of those. And no, it wasn't. And so I take the citations out of one of the copies of the paper. I can just take it out. And like keep an original copy with the citations in it, like with where they should be, right? In case I find them. So I submit it and I send a message to my professor when I submit it. I'm like, listen, there are some bits in here that are not cited because I could not find them later to cite them properly. That's what's going on here. Like, I understand that that probably looks like plagiarism, and I like respect that. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to, for the rest of the night, continue looking through my sources, trying to nail down where I got this information from. And then I will resubmit, right? But I wanted to put that out there that I am aware that this is missing. No, I can't fix it. Right? No, I don't know what to do about it. Sorry. I'm like, right, sorry. 15 minutes later, I found the sources. That is also when I realized I couldn't resubmit. So then I started freaking out. It is 11:45. This thing is due at 11:59. It is turned in. Something is turned in. But I was like, I found the sources. Now, here's the thing. Remember I said the sources were at the beginning of the paper. Well, the way this is cited, the citation they're organized in order of reference. So the first citation is number 1 and is also number 1 on the reference page. And I'm like, great. Just fantastic. So I had to move numbers like twice because like I didn't cite them in order and then like never cite it again. Like the first thing, like the first source got cited like a couple of different times in a couple of different places throughout the paper, right? But it was the first one officially cited, so it was number 1. And so I had to go and like double check, hey, is this right? Like, did I do this correctly? And then that's all done. I re-download it to submit it. Realize I can't submit it. Freak out. Send another message to my professor, like an actual email, and say, listen. I said I wasn't sure if I was going to find them. Well, I found them, of course, after I submitted. And obviously, I wanted to make sure this was cited properly because that's what you're supposed to do. Okay. I understand if you will not take this. Mind you, I was turning it in before the deadline. This was not me finding it later the next day and then trying to turn it in. No. It was before the deadline. And that's also part of why I sent an email, because there are timestamps on emails. You can figure out when something was sent. And I sent it and I said, listen, I'm attaching the paper. I tried to submit it. I couldn't figure out how. I don't know what to do. If you don't mind, I'd love for you to take this paper. Nothing has changed except for the citations are correct now. That's what's changed. That's the only thing that's different. Mind you, I ended up having 12 sources. I just want to put that out there. I got 4 pages, like actual paper pages. And yeah, so my teacher apparently gets up really early because of, I don't know, not my business. Anyway, I notice, because I am also getting up early because I have to go to work, I'm noticing that I'm getting communication about this paper the next morning. So I aced it. I did very well. Now, let me also say that I turned in the paper, I wrote a blurb, and then I made a video about it. Okay, so I did all of that. All of that happened, like, that night. It was a lot. It was so much. Now, as y'all know, I'm on camera frequently, whether it's like this and I'm talking to the camera, or whether you're looking at my weird face, making weird faces and sounds. So I don't have any problem being on camera. Some people are camera shy, some people like stutter, some people don't like speak publicly well, they don't like the attention, it makes them nervous, whatever. Funny thing is, I'm not immune to any of those things. I don't like attention. I do stutter. I frequently forget what I was saying and like disassociate in the middle of sentences. And then I can't be sure what I was even saying sometimes. But I just roll with it. Like that's the difference. I don't draw attention to it. I don't make a big deal out of it. And so we just keep on trucking, and that's just what happens, right? So that happened. Yay, I aced my paper. So now we've got the paper done. It's time for the presentation. Now the presentation, in between writing this paper, I had already like taken the time to I'd already taken the time to like do this, right? To draft out what I was going to say about the brain. And the thing about the brain was, it was, background, biology, how it works, anything like relevant, like biological structures or processes, and then like kind of touching on some lifestyle choices or whatever that might like affect the brain. I chose sleep debt, substance use, and concussions. And so I had a little bit about like what happens, like how the brain reacts. Basically, it starts shutting down, right? Prolonged drug use will cause like certain chemicals to not be produced or not be produced enough, or will change your your brain chemistry. Concussions literally damage physical parts of your brain, and sleep deprivation is like murder on your immune system and your memory and cognitive function, because you're not getting to rest and repair like you need to, and all of those basically lead to the brain just not working well. You forget things, you're clumsy, you have mood disturbances, you're super moody, tired, you might fall into micro naps, like all kinds of stuff. Things that make sense given what these things do to the body. Okay, cool. Yay! So that happened. I have like quite a bit of diary now. Let's see. Anyway, the placing of this too has been like a real nightmare, because you see what I'm doing, right? I'm holding this stuff in place while I noodle about. Okay, so we are doing really good. We can actually start. You can see me place some of this stuff now. If I figure out where I put my yarn that I was using to sew this stuff on. Maybe not. Maybe, I don't know. Yarn! Attack. I want y'all to know that I cleaned my desk for y'all. That's another one of the reasons why you have not seen me on the line, is because I have been my desk has been covered. Those are the words I'm trying to say. Yeah, my desk has been covered. And this is the white yarn. So I will do this. We're not gonna wrap it quite up, but we're gonna do this part, because here's maybe you're learning a little bit of the process of how this is getting done, and like maybe it gives you ideas for your projects. Alright, so I have measured out a length. I measure out these lengths like I measure out lengths of biscuits, of embroidery floss, right? I take it from the middle of my chest and put my arm out. And the whole point of that is so you don't bring out too much, because there's absolutely such a thing as too much thread out. And then what ends up happening is you will have things knot up. So I am taking apart the ply. That's what this is. I learned this trick from actually a doll maker who is a friend of mine. Not specifically doing it this way per se, but just the concept of taking apart the ply and using a thinner strand. And in the interest of like waste not, want not, I've been taking apart all of the ply. Now, I do have to say, from a lot of trial and error, you do need to be careful when you start doing this part, because this is like weaker, like these bits. We're gonna snip that. These bits are weaker, so if you pull too tightly on them, they'll just break. I know this because I did it up a whole bunch, and then I try to do all this at once, so it's just done. Now what I'm doing though is, like, theoretically I could have just left that together, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually essentially cut this in half. I'm using a threading tool from my backstrap loom, okay, because it works really well. I will try to make a note to myself to share a few things when I put this on, what do you call it, when I put this on YouTube. I don't know how successful I'm going to be with doing that, but I'm going to try. So, let's see. This would be the Etsy shop of the people I got the backstrap loom from. I can't, they're in Europe, by the way. I can't think of the name of the shop even. So also, this is a tatting needle. This is like, it looks like it could be a doll needle, but it's not a doll needle because doll needles are sharp, right? This is a tatting needle. This is not sharp. This is actually 4 yarn. I would have used a oh no, that's not right. That's not what I was using. I did start using this, I'm sorry. Can you not? Jesus. I started using this, but it was like really, yeah, see, this is just me, like, oh look, I have more already pulled out. This is what I ended up using. This is a null binding needle. It's curved, by the way. You can see that. Let's put that away. Same concept though, like, it's being used to do this, and the whole purpose is because it's curved, it doesn't sink into the piece the same way, which actually is great. I think I was doing this differently too. I think I was. Yeah, okay. Hold on. Hold, please. I did. There's an embroidery trick. See, it's been a minute since I've touched this, so I'm like I'm having trouble. Okay, so this is an embroidery trick, right? I love this thing, and it's also just a lot better and a lot handier than like the little tiny ones that you get in the store because they break easily. And this is actually made to pull yarn. So there you go. What you do, right? Just for anybody who's curious what's going on. You take the two ends. So you take a length, you loop it, right? You double it. You take the two ends and you draw them through the eye so that they're there, which means when you go to stitch into whatever you're stitching into, you go through that loop and it secures it. And it's a fun, quick little trick that I learned doing embroidery. Okay, so now we have to stand up while we do this because Brian requires it. Brian requires. And as you can see, what I'm doing is I'm just going into this, right, this bit. And also, you still, and now, even though I've doubled it, you still have to be careful. Okay, you still have to be careful that you don't tug it too much. Alright, now, you see what I'm doing though, right? I'm squinching, bunching this together. And I'm doing that on purpose. And this is where it gets all tricksy. This this is where I just start improvising heavily, um, because I don't know like quite what is gonna work, and like we'll figure it out like as it goes along, right? So there's like no rhyme or reason to this, so much as attach bits. Um, that's it, and I'm trying to make it so that it does not show. Okay, which is that's the tricky part, is pulling it tight enough that it doesn't show, but also is not um, it's not secure. So we don't want that. You see where that like that curved bit of the needle is like really it's really doing it for me. Like it's the curve, because what it's doing is it's making it easier. Now I gotta say, this is not in and of itself easy to do on camera. It really is not. It's not easy to do like off a camera either though, so this is nothing. No big deal. But you get to see like how this works. Okay, and like we're just winging it, like we're just, the point is to attach it, right? Doesn't have to be perfect. Doesn't even have to look, I mean, it just needs to look nice. So you see where I've got this line of demarcation that is where we have that's where I've said, okay, this is where, right, this is where this goes. I'm thinking about this movie I watched about this young girl whose like mom disappeared. And I'm like, man. Okay, so this is where it starts to get fun, because like, well, not fun, but tricky. Like, I'm starting to like link these things together. And this means looping it together, and this is probably the hardest. This is the only thing I would say that like I wish I had done it differently. Like I wish I had been able to yeah, and that's just, you see what I'm doing is I'm guessing. Wish I had been able to do this in such a way that I could plan it better. But right, I think it also just really suits it better that it's random. Makes it look one of a kind too. It means you have to think about it, right? You have to think about like how this is going to work. So, for those of you who do not follow me on Instagram and therefore did not see it because you don't know, I posted to Instagram that I was going to work on this. I did not mention that I was going to be on Twitch, and so I may have to like edit the thing and be like, oh hey, in case you wanted to see me working on it, here it was. Because I forgot. I haven't streamed in a while, and so whoa, now I'm out of practice with some of the things that I tend to do. Now, so you get Now here, right, we get to here. I don't have a whole lot. I just leave that, which is why there's all these word strands. And so we're going to string another bit. Okay. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So, yeah, I was watching a Saw marathon because it's spooky season, and of course. And it happens to be, like, all of the movies except, obviously, the latest one happened to be on the television. So I have been watching them. And I'm taking a break to talk to y'all while I do this. Because, obviously, we can't have anything, playing in the background. Not because, because it's gonna end up on other parts of the internet. On my YouTube channel. Speaking of YouTube channel, I'm gonna put this up there. I might, I don't know, I might try to post it tonight. I might wait till tomorrow. I haven't perfected that part of how I do yet. But like exactly when I post what. Like, am I going to do it the night of? Am I going to wait till tomorrow morning? When it comes to the weekend, it's easy enough to do until we're talking about Sunday. When it comes to the week, that's a lot harder to do, like to post the next day. So maybe not, right? Still trying to work the bugs out, and that's like part of this process, right? So anyway, this happened. And yay, brains. His name is Brian. So, okay, onwards, right? The presentation. So the second part of the presentation, the second P was the presentation, right? And that was because I was trying to prioritize getting the thing done. Because this right here, what I'm doing, this is extra, right? Now, what happened was, I was like, it'd be really cool if I could have like a brain prop, while I'm doing, right? Like while I'm doing this. Like that would be super neat. I'm like, it would be super neat. And I'm like, didn't I see a brain somewhere on the internet that somebody had made like out of yarn? I was like, I think I did. So I went looking and actually found a bunch of things. I found the brain hat. And the brain hat, so the original plan was to make the brain hat. And then make the brain hat was going to be plain colors, which I'm going to keep those colors. And then I was going to make this. And the point was that this first, then the brain hat, and wear the brain hat while I did the presentation. Like that was the goal. That is not what happened. It's not done. I'm sorry. It sucks. I'm still going to make the brain hat though. I just didn't get it done in time for the project. Anyway. So then I was like, well, why don't you make a brain hat? Okay. Right. That has the different hemispheres on it. I was like, man, no, that's actually pretty awesome. And I'm like, it is pretty awesome. It is also incredibly extra. I'm like, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And I'm like, but how cool is that? I was like, that's super cool. So here's a little story about the brain hat, right? The brain hat was actually written by a med student, which I think is the coolest thing ever. And is like a fun little fact, right? Because it just seemed very appropriate. Also, proof that like people, like knitters are students and scientists and researchers and, everything else under the sun. Like, yeah. Anyway, I haven't made either version of the brain hat. The version that it calls for, right, is, it's expecting it to be done in sock yarn. And I found this really pretty. I would show it to you, but I don't know where it is. I want to say it might be worsted. It might be Aran yarn. That I was like, this will be
so fun as like a solid colored brain hat. I'm like, it would be so fun. And like even if that's not what it turns into when it grows up, it would just be really pretty. It's this like lovely kind of heathered, feathery, frosty pink. I don't even know how to say it. Like, it's like, anyway, it doesn't matter. I bought it. I'm not giving it back. That's what's happening. So, then I said, why don't you just, why don't you just make it, like, make your brain hat in the yarn size it's supposed to be, right? And then do this business with it, right? Like, mark the different lobes. I was like, yeah, no, I could do that. See, we're really close. We're really close. Like, I need a bit more. But I want it, like, and this is what I've been trying to do, is get, like, as close to the edge of, like, the made portion as I can. So that this is done. But, whatever. Alright, so we can probably get like a few more stitches in. And this is the other thing, like I've been switching back and forth between where I'm stitching, like trying to stitch both sides down so it's nice and secure. Don't want my wrinkles and wrinkling. Biscuits. I've done that like more than a couple times. That's my sign. That's my sign that I need to cut this piece off here soon. Because oh my gosh. So it's really funny the things we use these tools for. Like this is a null binding needle. This is like for a very specific biking style kind of like knitting, but like literally with a needle sort of situation. See, that's good. But it's perfect as a tapestry needle for like this situation right here. Right. So anyway, it'd be really cool if I could get all of the frontal lobe, which is the piece I'm working on now, like all of that done, like before I got off here. I don't know. I've got like the homework I've got is due tomorrow. I am trying to, like, I wanted to stream, so like if I can stream for, like, I think the goal is I might have to bring the goal down and be like stream for 15 minutes and then stream for 30 and then stream for 45. I don't know. That might be what happens. All right. But we're like at 43 minutes and some change. So what's going to end up happening is I'm probably going to call this a night here soon. Because I have, I've got to get back to, so see, I was close. Like, I was close. I was very, very close. Now, here's the thing, right? Because this is so close to the end, I do not want to tug on it any longer. We're going to see if we can go to 11. 11sies. But you see what I'm talking about? Yes. The brain. It's the brain. It's the brain. There we go. Okay. Oh my gosh. So, what's left is this, basically this like tangerine sized place right here. I probably will try to finish this. This is where it starts to get tricky because where's done, right? I don't know. Um, and I'm probably going to start off with like a bunch of I-cord independently of it being sewn on when I start the second hemisphere. And then, because this is how she suggests you do it. In the hat version, you make just all the I-cord and you pin it on, right? And that way you can like tell when you need more. And you, because you're sewing it on either in pieces or as you go, like it doesn't matter if you have to add more. Like it's not a big deal. It doesn't take away from the design. I've been kind of treating this the same way, right? Like if I gotta add a little more, that's fine. There's a spot at the top. It's not at the top, it's actually at the bottom. But there's a spot in the blue area, which is the temporal lobe on this bad boy, that I wish I had gone a little longer on and like crammed more wrinkle in. And so I'm gonna make a little bit and add it in there to like I don't know, beef it up, whatever you want to call it. But this first, like I'm gonna finish this, and I'm calling this over here yellow. It's like a really pale peach yellow. This is like salmon, honestly. It's not even red. It's like pink. Then we got mint green, and like this kind of light sky blue. But I've been calling it yellow. I don't care what anybody says. The good thing is I'm almost done with this part. And then I will be like I could reasonably take 2 needles and this yarn with me to work, and like in between tasks like knit a few stitches right here and there. Like I could totally do that. Yeah. But the real purpose here is to, let's see, and I'd rather have more yarn than less as far as the wrinkles go, because I can take out extra. I can't, like adding more is harder to do, right? Like after I've cut, I'd have to, this the thing. But if I like had to pull back some, that's not a big deal. Anyway, imagine this is what I was going to be doing with my night. It's good to work on stuff and to hang out with y'all. I've been having a tough time at work. Partially because of Brenda, partially because I frequently get misunderstood, and my mannerisms, such that they are, get conflated with things that are not accurate, and it becomes a problem because then I get accused of things, and it's like that. No, like what? No. And people get defensive when you accuse them, and I think it's fair, and I don't think somebody getting defensive is necessarily a sign of guilt. Like, nobody likes being accused of anything. They're not going to respond well to it. So, obviously, it's not going to, you're probably going to get some pushback. Somebody might be really angry about it. Somebody may be disproportionately angry about it. Some people may be like, I know the truth, whatever, I don't care, and not everybody can do that. So, there's that. But, also, working full-time, going to school full-time, it's a lot. And this is why I chose to go to school online. Because that's more accessible for me. And I want to raise, and this is the way to get it. I may have volunteered myself for a project, which in the grand scheme of things is going to be helpful, but it's right now what it looks like is, did you just add more to your plate? And the answer to that is, I mean, yes, but um, yeah. Anyway, I heard some people talking, and I'm thinking to myself, sounds like you have like an organizational issue. I'm like, I'm good at organization. Do you want some help organizing something? Right? Like, I can't volunteer. I'm not gonna give up any of my time because I have so little of it, and I'm just so tired all the time. But I can throw together like organizational structures, in between tasks at work, right? Because I'm good at it. It's not taxing on my brain to like put something together, and then tweak it. So I gotta reach out to that person. They're like, oh, whenever you're over here, you want to help me? And I'm like, I mean, that's up to my boss. That's not up to me. Like, I'm sent over here to do some really specific things, and like, I don't know that you can ask for my help. Like, I don't know. Now, the person I'm offering to help is in the field that I'm going into, which is why I said something at all. Because I was like, you know what? If I need like some experience or like a project idea or something, this is it. This is it right here. Okay, and speaking of this is it right here, I think we've about got it. So we're gonna go for a little bit more, right? A couple more inches, and then this should be enough that if I took the needles out, it wouldn't be a big deal. Now, what I might do is like go hop over and like grab not a paper clip, but like something to hold the stitches so that I don't tug them into oblivion, but I can still like manipulate them easily. So if I have to put them back on the needle, like, I can. Because that's the thing. I don't want to take anything off the needle and then be like, oh crap, I need to put it back on, and I've pulled it too tight and now I have to take out something. Like, I don't want to have to redo anything. That's yucky. And I'm not going to do that much more. But I did want to do enough more that maybe I could, I don't know, finish this part at least. So, and I know where I have a safety pin like hiding, so I'll grab that in just a second. I noticed it because it's gold. Yeah, so this might run a little more than an hour. I don't know. I'm gonna try to finish off this bit just because then all I have to do is worry about the parietal lobe, right? And then I can disengage myself from this for a bit. Yeah, I'm going to 55 minutes, if you can't tell, before I switch it over. Just because I want to make sure I have like enough. And this is a 3-stitch I-cord, so yeah. Hooray huzzah though, that like this is happening. That I'm getting to a point where this is like finished. That's just amazing. Huzzah. Alright, we got time for like one more round, I guess is what we're calling it. Is it a round? Is it a round? I don't know. I guess so. Boom, look at that. Perfect timing. I'm gonna, ow, biscuits. Oh, my feet have been bothering me. Ow. Like, I wonder if I broke my foot, honestly. Like, I know that sounds really dramatic, but it is a legit concern of mine. Do I have a stress fracture? Because my foot's been bothering me. And gold! I don't know what the deal is. Okay, so it's like right in the middle of my foot too. Okay, so like that's, I notice it when I bear weight on my foot. It's just concerning to me. So what we need to do is get to this point where we are so I'm concentrating when I get quiet. I gotta tell you, the most awkward part of working on camera for me is the physical, like, okay, where am I on screen? Because I kind of, like, low-key hate it when people, like, get off screen and don't seem to notice. And it's like, why didn't you have something set up where you could easily check? Like, wait a minute, what? And I get it, from, like, a rudimentary perspective, that's not necessarily easy to do, and just because you're a crafty does not mean you were tech savvy. I'm certainly not what I would call tech savvy at all. But if you're going to be doing like something where you're demonstrating something, right, people should be able to see what you're doing, right? It's kind of the whole point, I think. But, you know, understanding that, like, right now I'm at a weird angle for me. So, like, this is not, you know, as easy. Like, it's easier said than done at this point. And I know that you can't really see what I'm doing. But I have to be able to see over you. So, sorry, but I get priority. Let's see, and this is where, like, we gotta be careful, because, almost fell to my death, jeez. So you see, we got this section right here. Okay, yeah, that's gonna be fine. I just gotta make sure this is right. That's all. So I'm gonna finish this section at least. Like this section of, I don't know actually, if I'm gonna finish this section of like yarn that I'm sewing with. We're gonna finish this section of like brain. Oh, I'm not sure where I was getting at with that. I do not know. Sam, I am. Okay, so that is, what is that? apparently I'm gonna do a little more. I need to fix this whole setup of my desk. Be a little better. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to be done with Brian though. I have socks to work on. I have a sweater I'm supposed to be knitting with like a friend that I just haven't touched. I have another sweater I'm supposed to be knitting for a friend. Like I volunteered, it's fine. Okay, so I think that's how that's gonna go. Alright. So I'm sitting down for this part, even though I've been standing up for most of it when I get to this point. Just because I'm really feeling. You notice I'm not like solidly committing to anything, right? As far as this goes. Alright, we might. Okay, so now I've got a gap I need to make sure is closed. There we go. Okay. Yeah, because I'm trying to make sure that there we go. Alright, gotta stand up. Having trouble seeing Brian from that angle. Alright. Make sure we don't. And this is the tricky part. When I get to these like last bits, they take some noodling around. Noodle. Because this is your noodle. Right? And it doesn't work perfectly. And it's fine. It doesn't need to. Trial and error and all that. And just like parsing it out as I go along. Looks like we might have to do some more because I want this line to go here. Yeah. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna sew this last bit. I'm gonna get to the end of this section, right, of yarn in both ways, and um, this is where we're gonna call it. We're gonna leave that just because I'm not gonna be able to get any more. Okay, so oh, this is the right side of the brain. Wow, sorry, y'all. It's the actually, is it? Yeah, it is. This is the right side of the brain. My right side, because the subtitles in the back, which you know you really can't tell anything right here. Okay, so it looks like I need just a little more. Just a little more. To fill in this little gap right here. But we're gonna call it done for Brian. So here you go. Occipital, parietal, temporals down here, frontals right here. I know we got these look like little worms, right? This brain's got prions. Brain worms. That's not really what a prion is. Anyway, doesn't matter. It's a protein thing. It's an angry squiggle though. It's not nice. It's a bad squiggle. It's a bad squiggle. So that's it for that. Hopefully you enjoyed Brian and me chattering about Brian and how Brian came to be. And seeing what you could of Brian's construction, because obviously some of it was not great. So I don't know when I'm going to be back. I would love to say that I'll be back tomorrow, but I don't know that for a fact. And I have 3 assignments due tomorrow, which I'm trying to get done today. And those are going to be the priority, is getting those things done. Because they're graded. They're most important. But thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. If you're catching the replay, hi. You can come on over to Switch and follow me there if that's your thing, or you can hang out and watch this on YouTube. Brian is probably going to show up a little more, but it also really depends. I have been working on this piece in like on my bed a lot, and I don't have a camera set up like handy over there, or like a space even. So for me to work on camera has meant, hey, you're gonna have to, do this over here. And like I said, my desk has been an absolute mess. And I actually just cleared it off for y'all. So yeah. I'll be back. So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, and goodbye, and y'all have a good rest of your evening, day, whatever's going on.